Yes, hello. It's that time of the year again. The top 10 movies of 2021. I know I didn't do it last year. I think I didn't do it last year, but I will do it this year. And also because I didn't do the my 10 most anticipated movies of 2021. Um I will also quickly give you a little I will give you a little comparison between the two. In 2021, I've had 36 movies on my list which I wanted to watch. Um, and now at the end of or at the start of 2022, I've watched 25. But also you have to keep in mind that a lot of them got cancelled, or not cancelled, but pushed back to this year. So my most anticipated movies for 2021 were actually, or let's start with the honorable mentions. There was the Suicide Squad was on there, Spiral from the Book of Saw, Terrifier 2, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, Don't Breathe 2, The Eternals, and Candyman. Yeah, there were a lot of honorable mentions. Okay, now we get into the top 10 movies of 2021. But first, I will, also say few honorable mentions who didn't make the top 10 and but who were still really good. That was Willy's Wonderland, Old, Godzilla vs. Kong, and The Eternals. Those are my honorable mentions. Great movies all overall, in my opinion. And yeah, let's start at number 10. We have a movie which actually was not on my most anticipated movies of 2021 list, nor was it on my honorable mentions. And that movie was No Time to Die. Yes, the last Daniel Craig James Bond movie. I thought it was amazing. I know a lot of people didn't like the ending, but I thought it was perfect. And I really had a great time in the theater. I remember it was full packed of people, and it was a great experience, great movie. And that movie actually got an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Then at number 9, we have probably the most surprising movie, or the movie which surprised me the most in a positive way of this year, was not on my honorable mentions list, nor in my top 10. Malignant from James Wan. That movie, honestly, it blew me away. And even though it's still just in brackets an 8.5 out of 10, it's still an amazing movie. And honestly, if you like horror movies and if you like these old school horror movies, those classic, then I would definitely recommend Malignant. You have to watch this movie. It's incredible. And James Wan, honestly, this dude is, I think I already said, he's the greatest horror director of our time, definitely. Then at number 8, we have another surprise, which was also not on any list. That was VHS 94. Yes, the fourth installment in the VHS franchise has done it again, and both us four incredible shots. I wouldn't say that. The fourth one was highly just okay, which is why the movie has just an 8.5 out of 10. But the other three were amazing. I could also just recommend this movie, and if you like the VHS franchise and you haven't watched this one yet, then I would definitely recommend you seeing this amazing movie. And sadly, it got to streaming, and it didn't went into theaters, but that would have been amazing. But still, really, really great movie and really surprising movie. Then at number 7, we have Black Widow. It's the first new Marvel movie in 2021, in 2020. I had an amazing time in the theater, amazing movie. the reason why it has a 9 out of 10 and it's just at place 7 is because I was not the biggest fan of the villain of the movie. So yeah, but the rest was all amazing. Great movie. Great Marvel movie like always. And Black Widow actually was also Black Widow actually was on the list at number 5 of my most anticipated movies. So yeah, that was almost the same. At like from 5 to 7 is okay. Then at number 6 we have one of the honorable mentions of the most anticipated movies, The Suicide Squad. What an amazing surprise from James Gunn, but honestly I didn't expect anything less from him. He's an amazing director and writer, and this movie was it was so much fun. This movie has everything. Like it has emotions, amazing story, action, CGI. It's really funny. Like yeah, overall amazing movie. 9 out of 10 for me also. And yeah, that was really amazing movie from James Gunn there. Then we're coming to the top 5. At place 5 we actually have A Quiet Place Part 2. Yes. Almost the greatest horror movie of this year in my opinion. This movie did not disappoint from the first one, even though I would say the first one is better. It's really close. Like the second one was amazing. John Krasinski has done it again in this one, and I cannot wait for the part 3. Quiet Place Part 2 actually was at number 9 of my most anticipated movies. So yeah, this movie, even though I was already really hyped for this, it delivered even more than I could think of. Then at number 4 we have the most controversial one. You can probably think which one it is, considering what I just said a few seconds ago. Halloween Kills. Yes, the most divided horror movie since It Follows, in my opinion. I've never seen more divided opinions on this movie. There are so many people who will say this was the worst Halloween movie ever. It was shit, it was bad. And then there are others like me who would say it's one of the best, if not the best Halloween movies there. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's definitely one of the best. Halloween Kills is also a straight 9 out of 10. I would say though that it like if I had to choose one, I would choose Halloween Kills before A Quiet Place Part 2, which is why it is at number 4. And Halloween Kills actually was at number 2, so it of my most anticipated movies, so it definitely didn't disappoint. Yeah, Halloween Kills was honestly mind-blowing. Like, and the only reason why it's 9 out of 10 is because even though I like the ending, I would have done it different, because which is why it is only a 9 out of 10, which is amazing as a horror movie. The sheer brutality of this movie and the soundtrack, like always, the acting, the story. This movie is so good. I cannot say it enough. I love this movie personally. I get why you wouldn't like it, but I love it. Then at number 3 we have Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, which was not in my top 10 most anticipated movies, nor was it in my honorable mentions, because I just didn't know what to expect, you know. But this movie completely surprised me, and it's delivered. One of the best Marvel movies of our time. 10 out of 10 movie, definitely. The fight choreography, the amazing comedy, the acting, everything of this movie is complete perfect in my opinion. And yeah, like this movie was, it was so good. It was so good. And if you haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, then I would definitely recommend you to see it. Not just as a Marvel fan, but also as a superhero movie fan. I would see this movie. Then I think you know which 2 movies are left. At number 2 we have Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes, this movie was complete perfection in my opinion. This showed again what happens when you give a director complete control of the movie. Then something like this will happen, because Zack Snyder has done it again with this movie. Complete masterpiece, 10 out of 10. 4 hours of absolute epicness in my opinion. This movie, and I'm still so sad, to be honest, that we could not witness this movie in theaters and instead got the Joss Whedon cut, because this movie is miles away from that one. Justice League actually was just at number 10 because I did not expect it to be so much different than the original one. But yeah, this movie completely blew me away, and yeah, not just the second best movie of this year, but also one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. Then at number 1, I think you all have figured out which movie that is. Spider-Man: No Way Home, best movie of this year. It was also at number 1 of my most anticipated movies, and this movie did deliver. Even though it was the number 1, it even still surprised me, and even though I knew some of the leaks, this movie still completely blew me away, and it's not just the best Spider-Man movie of all time, in my opinion, it's also one of the best superhero movies ever. And honestly, I could talk about this movie for hours, so I would just leave it there. Spider-Man: No Way Home, best movie of this year, definitely. It was a close one, because Justice League is a complete masterpiece, but Spider-Man is I enjoyed Spider-Man even more. And I wanted to say quickly about the top 10 most anticipated movies of 21. At number 10, like I said, was Justice League. At number 9, A Quiet Place Part 2. At number 8 was The Collected, which was The Collector 3, which sadly got is completely on hold, and there's a big chance that we will never see this movie, even though they already filmed some of it. And honestly, that's really sad, because the first 2 horror movies are amazing, and I was really happy to see this movie. Like you can see, it was at number 8. So I'm really devastated that we probably never get to see this movie. At number 7, there was Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and this movie sadly, even though it's not bad, it did definitely disappoint me, because it went from number 7 spot to number 15 of this year. Still, like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one, in my opinion. Number 6, The Forever Purge, also disappointing movie, sadly, because if you know something about me, then you know that the Purge series is my second favorite horror series of all time. So this movie was definitely disappointing. It went from the number 6 spot to the number 18 spot. But still, I would also say that The Forever Purge is not a bad movie. At number 5, The Black Widow. At number 4, Godzilla vs. Kong. And I wouldn't say this movie disappointed, because like it did what it had to do. We have 2 monsters fighting each other. That's all I wanted. And it's still Godzilla vs. Kong. Like I said, it's still in my honorable mentions, because it's still an 8.5 out of 10 in my opinion. It's an amazing action movie. But there was just a lot of 11 other movies who were better in my opinion this year. But Godzilla vs. Kong did not disappoint. At number 3, we have Mission Impossible 7, who sadly got delayed to this year. I cannot wait for that movie. And then, of course, at number 2, Halloween Kills, and at number 1, Spider-Man: No Way Home. Before I end this video, I wanted to say quickly about the most disappointing movies of this year. Or not disappointing, the worst movies of this year. The worst movie of this year was at number 25, of course, A Space Jam: A New Legacy. I'm a huge LeBron fan, and even like his acting was horrible, but also the movie itself, it did nothing for me. Space Jam: New Legacy is not good, and honestly, if you like this movie, then I'm happy for you that you could enjoy this, because I couldn't enjoy this. Also, Fast 9, also one of the worst movies of this year. I did not expect much of it, but it even went lower than my lower expectations I already had of this movie. And also The Matrix Resurrections, also the last movie I've watched this year, was not good. I watched the first 3 Matrix movies, and I don't know. The Matrix Resurrections was not a bad movie. Like, it's it didn't feel the same. It wasn't good. Simply explained, it wasn't good. And also Wrong Turn, the No Wrong Turn movie, which was I think it was the first movie I've watched this year. Also completely disappointed me because it has nothing to do with the original Wrong Turn series. But as a standalone horror movie, it wasn't bad. But it shouldn't have the name Wrong Turn, you know. And yeah, I think that was all I had to say. I don't want to talk about every movie I've watched this year, as this video will be 20 minutes long. But I will do a follow-up video for my 10 most anticipated movies of this year, because I didn't do it last year. I want to do it this year because this year is also crazy in movies. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to tell me your top 10, then feel free to say it in the comments. If not, that's also okay. Just leave a like and subscribe, and I hope I will see you in the next video. See you then.